Quiet now, everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind. You're going to dance until your feet fall off. You're not able to stand up any longer. But we're going to have a show.
Welcome to the Pink Door podcast, powered by Keller Williams Signature Properties.
Yes.
And welcome, everyone, to today's deep dive. I am so thrilled to have you with us because today we are taking a hyper-focused, microscopic look at the real estate market in Norwell, Massachusetts.
Right down to the street level.
Exactly. We are looking specifically at February 2026, and we're analyzing a stack of completely fresh, hot off the press data.
Good stuff.
The really good stuff. We've got reports from RPR, which is the Realtors Property Resource. We have detailed public records of sold properties and data straight from the MLSPM.
Right, the MLS.
Yeah, and if you aren't familiar with that term, the MLS is the centralized database that real estate agents use to track every single property hitting the market. It is the gold standard for ground truth data.
It doesn't get more accurate than the MLS.
It really doesn't. So whether you are a total data nerd or maybe a prospective buyer, endlessly refreshing your real estate apps.
We all know that feeling.
Oh, definitely. Or even if you're just a curious homeowner wondering what the house down the street is actually worth, this deep dive is going to translate these dense spreadsheets into the actual story of what's happening on the ground.
Because the numbers tell a wild story today.
They really do. A wild story about supply, demand, and honestly, market illusions. So to help me make sense of it all, I've got our resident data guru here.
Glad to be here.
Before we jump into the hard numbers, why is taking such a microscopic look at a single month in a single town so revealing for someone trying to understand the housing market?
Well, when you look at national or even statewide real estate headlines, you are essentially looking at a blended smoothie of data.
A blended smoothie. I like that.
Right. It tastes like a general trend, but you can't identify the individual ingredients.
Yeah.
Real estate is fiercely hyperlocal.
Extremely local.
Exactly. By zooming in on one town, Norwell, and one specific month, February 2026, we strip away all that broad generalized noise.
We get to the actual mechanics.
We can actually see the immediate mechanics of supply and demand at work. We can see exactly what buyers are rejecting and what they are fighting over almost in real time.
Which gives you a huge advantage.
It gives you a massive tactical advantage because you aren't operating on generalized assumptions drawn from across the country. You are operating on what is happening on this specific street today.
Okay, let's unpack this ground truth. Looking at the RPR market trends document, the baseline stat that jumps right off the page is the estimated property value.
Let's hear it.
It looks like the median estimated property value for Norwell is sitting at $1,035,820.
Wow.
Yeah. So we are looking at over $1 million for the median home.
That $1 million threshold is significant, but context is everything with that number.
How so?
Well, that 1.03 million figure is actually a tiny 1.2% drop from the previous month of January.
Oh, a drop.
Okay, but however, if you zoom out just a bit and look at the 12-month change, it's still up 1.4% year over year.
So it's actually growing.
Right. So despite minor month-to-month fluctuations, which are incredibly common in the first quarter of the year, the baseline value in Norwell is holding remarkably steady above that $1 million mark.
Meaning if you own a home now.
For homeowners sitting in those properties right now, your equity is very much intact and insulated.
That is great news for sellers. But there is another metric right below that, which actually made my jaw drop.
The inventory.
Yes, the months of inventory. Right now, the data says Norwell has only a 2-month supply of inventory.
2 months.
It ticked up slightly, about 5.26% from the prior month, but 2 months sounds incredibly low.
It is historic.
To help visualize this, I always think about a local grocery store. Months of inventory basically means that if the delivery trucks completely stopped coming today...
If no new homes were ever listed again.
Exactly. How long would it take for the buyers currently in the market to buy up every single house available? In Norwell, the shelves would be completely bare in 8 weeks.
The grocery store analogy works to a point, but with real estate, it's actually even more extreme. You can't just substitute one brand of cereal for another.
Right, every house is different.
Every single house is unique, which drives the buyer panic even higher. If we connect this to the bigger picture in real estate economics, a balanced market where buyers and sellers have roughly equal negotiating power, is generally considered to be around 6 months of inventory.
6 months is balanced.
Yes. When you get up to 7, 8, or 9 months, you are in a buyer's market. Sellers are sweating, dropping prices, offering concessions.
But we're at 2.
At 2 months of inventory,
All right.
that decisively flags this as a deep, entrenched seller's market.
So sellers hold all the cards right now.
They hold the cards because the fundamental economic law of scarcity is in full effect. And it's important to understand the economic forces driving this.
Why is it so scarce?
We are seeing a lot of homeowners who are essentially locked into their current properties because they secured historically low mortgage rates years ago.
Oh, the golden handcuffs.
Exactly. They might want to downsize or upgrade, but the math of taking on a new mortgage at current rates keeps them paralyzed.
So they don't list their house.
That restricts the supply of new homes coming onto the market, creating this bottleneck where eager buyers are fighting over a trickle of available properties.
Which means if you're a buyer, you're walking into that grocery store, there are only a few unique items left on the shelf, and 3 other shoppers are eyeing the exact same thing.
It's a tough spot to be in.
It really is, but as I look further down the data, I am getting genuinely confused.
What are you seeing?
I'm staring at these 2 different charts, and I think there might be a typo, or I'm completely misreading something.
Let's see.
Here's where it gets really interesting. We just established the median home value in town is around $1 million.
Right.
But when I look at the median list price for active listings in February 2026, the MLS market survey says it's $2,449,500. And the RPR data has an active list median of up to $2,525,000. Help me out here. What am I missing?
It looks crazy, doesn't it?
How can the median home be worth $1 million, but the median active listing is 2.5 times that?
It looks like a massive mathematical error until you dig into the sample size of that specific data point.
The sample size.
Yes, and this is exactly why we don't just read the top-line headlines. We look at the underlying mechanics. When you look at the MLS market survey for active listings in February 2026, you realize there are only 2 active properties on the entire market in Norwell.
Wait, you mean 2 houses total are actively sitting on the market?
Just 2.
That's insane.
And look at where they are priced. One is listed in the $2 million to $2.49 million range.
Okay.
And the other is in the $2.5 million to $2.99 million range.
Oh, I see.
That's why your active median is sitting around $2.5 million.
Yeah.
It's not that the average Norwell home suddenly became a sprawling mega mansion overnight.
Oh, goodness.
It's that the only inventory left sitting on the shelf long enough to be counted as active happens to be in the ultra-luxury tier.
That is fascinating. The entire active market is just an illusion created by a tiny sample size of luxury homes.
A total mirage.
But even so, are these 2 mega homes just sitting around collecting dust because they are priced so high?
Far from it. The average days on market for those 2 active properties is just 13 days.
13 days for a $2.5 million house.
So even at that price point, properties are catching attention quickly. If you are a buyer with a luxury budget, this tells you that you cannot afford to be complacent.
You can't just take your time.
Right. You might assume that a multi-million-dollar home will sit for months waiting for that rare, wealthy buyer to come along.
Yeah.
But in Norwell right now, 13 days is the blink of an eye. The competition exists at every price point.
So think about what this means for the normal buyer, the person who has, say, a $900,000 or $1 million budget.
The core market.
Right, which is exactly in line with the town's median value. If they log on to a real estate app right now and search for homes in Norwell, the algorithm is going to show them almost nothing but multi-million-dollar estates.
It's terrifying for a buyer.
They are going to look at that active median price of $2.5 million and feel absolute panic, thinking they've been completely priced out of the town overnight.
Because they don't see the full picture.
If active listings are just a mirage of mega mansions, where are the normal homes hiding?
To find the normal homes, you have to stop looking at the active listings and start looking at the pending sales.
The pending sales.
That is where the real story of the middle market is hiding.
Let's pull up that pending data then. These are the homes where a buyer and seller have agreed on a price, signed a contract, and are just waiting to officially close, right?
Exactly. They are off the market, but not finalized.
And looking at this chart, the picture changes entirely. The median list price for new pending properties in February is right around $900,000.
Much more realistic.
And the overall pending properties have a median list price of around $862,450.
This is the crucial context that dispels the active listing illusion.
It's night and day.
The massive gap between the 2.5 million active listings And the roughly 900,000 pending listings proves something vital about buyer behavior.
What's that?
It proves that the buyer demand in Norwell is fiercely, intensely concentrated around that 800,000 to 1.1 million mark.
That is the sweet spot.
Yes. The MLS survey shows 4 pending properties in that specific range, and they had an average of 39 days on the market.
Which still seems like a very fast clip for a home to be listed, toured, negotiated, and put under contract.
It is a blistering pace, and this reveals the invisible market.
The invisible market. Explain that.
When homes are priced near that median estimated value of 1.03 million, they're being absorbed by the market almost as fast as they can be listed.
Just immediately gone.
They never get a chance to sit in the active column long enough to influence the monthly active median price.
Oh, they just bypass it entirely.
Exactly, going straight from new listing to pending.
Wow.
The ultra-luxury properties, while moving fast at 13 days, are simply the only ones lingering just long enough to be captured as the active snapshot at the end of the month.
It's like a conveyor belt that is moving super fast for the $1 million homes. They just get snatched off the belt instantly.
Perfect analogy.
So, if you are a seller with a home valued around $950,000, you are sitting in the ultimate sweet spot. You list it, and the ravenous pool of buyers who have been starved of inventory just descend on it.
It's a frenzy.
Yeah.
And if you are a buyer looking in that bracket, your preparation has to be flawless.
You can't be casual about it.
You cannot wait for the open house on Sunday if the property drops on Thursday.
It'll be gone.
You need your pre-approval letter in hand, your financing completely sorted, and you have to be prepared to make a highly competitive offer the second a house hits the market. The data shows us definitively that these homes will not be there next weekend.
Okay, so we've looked at the estimated values, we've untangled the illusion of the active listings, and we've tracked the real action in the pending sales.
We've covered a lot of ground.
But to really understand how this all plays out when the rubber meets the road, when real people are signing real checks, we need to look at the finish line.
The sold data.
Right. I've got a document here titled Norwell Sold, and it looks at the historical data from exactly a year ago, February 2025.
That's a great baseline.
This should show us what actually happens when buyers and sellers get to the closing table in a market this tight.
Looking back at recent historical data is one of the best ways to predict current and future behavior.
Because human nature doesn't change that fast.
Exactly. The dynamics of tight inventory and high demand were very much in play during this period. So these sold properties act as perfect concrete case studies for what buyers are willing to do.
I'm looking at this sold list, and it seems like classic, standard homes are selling for way more than the asking price.
Let's look at the specifics.
Let's look at this one on Grove Street. Let's see, it's a Cape style, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. It looks like it went for a massive premium.
It did. 306 Grove Street was listed at $795,000, but the final close price was $855,000.
That's a $60,000 premium over the asking price.
Yes.
Wow. And what is driving someone to pay $60,000 over asking for a 3-bedroom Cape?
It comes down to the property type and predictability.
Predictability.
The Cape is a classic architectural style with a highly functional layout that universally appeals to a wide variety of buyers, from young families to retirees looking to downsize.
Everyone knows how to live in a Cape.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In a market where buyers are already stressed, a predictable, well-maintained home with a standard layout is going to spark a bidding war because it represents safety. The intense demand pushed it well over asking.
That makes total sense. Let's look at the next one on the list, 24 Winter.
Okay, let's see.
This is a larger footprint, a 10-room, 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath colonial. It was listed higher at $1,289,000. How did that one fare at the closing table?
It followed the exact same trajectory, just at a higher price tier. 24 Winter sold for $1,360,000.
That is an over $70,000 premium.
When you have a larger 4-bedroom colonial in a desirable town, you are tapping into the core demographic of families looking for long-term stability.
They want the space and the schools.
Right. They're willing to stretch their budgets significantly to secure that space.
Then we have 329 Lincoln Street, another colonial. This one, an 8-room, 4-bedroom, 2-bath setup.
Let's check the numbers.
It was listed at $1,075,000. And it looks like it sold for $1,085,000.
So just a slight bump over asking.
But still, absolutely no discounts being handed out to the buyers. It really feels like if you have a standard, well-maintained family home in Norwell, you essentially get to write your own ticket.
It certainly appears that way on the surface, but this is exactly why analyzing individual public records is so critical, rather than just trusting the macro headlines.
You mean there are exceptions?
The market is hot, but it is not irrational.
I think I see what you mean. There is a massive anomaly on this sheet.
Let's talk about it.
Let me introduce you to 630 Main Street. This was a large property. 9 rooms, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. But the style was an antique farmhouse.
An antique farmhouse, okay.
It was listed at $870,000. In a market where everything else is flying off the shelves for huge premiums, it looks like this property sat for 52 days on the market and it sold for $775,000.
That is a $95,000 discount from the asking price.
Yeah. What happened here?
This is perhaps the most vital lesson for anyone trying to navigate this market. It is so easy to hear 2 months of inventory and deep seller's market and assume that literally any structure with a roof will automatically spark a vicious bidding war.
Right, you think you can sell anything.
But buyers, even frustrated inventory-starved buyers, are still highly discerning. Property type and condition matter immensely.
So it's the fixer-upper fantasy colliding with reality.
Exactly. A more modern colonial often represents predictable maintenance. An older antique farmhouse, while incredibly charming and historically significant, often represents quirky floor plans, potentially outdated structural systems, and the looming specter of unique, expensive maintenance costs.
You have to consider the economic reality of the buyer right now.
Right, because if they are already paying a premium just to get into the town...
Their cash reserves are likely depleted.
Precisely. They are spending their maximum budget to secure the mortgage. They do not have an extra $100,000 in cash lying around to fix a 150-year-old foundation.
Or upgrade ancient plumbing.
Or deal with the current high costs of labor and construction materials. Hyperlocal factors and the specific condition of the property dictate whether a house sparks a bidding war or requires a painful price reduction.
The market punishes problems.
Even in a historically tight environment, the market will aggressively punish an overpriced home that requires significant work or has highly niche appeal. The buyers still have the leverage to say, we want to live here, but we aren't going to take on a massive project at a premium price.
That is such a crucial takeaway. Don't let the macro headlines make you reckless, whether you are a seller pricing your home or a buyer making an offer.
It's dangerous to assume too much.
And just to put that 52 days on market into perspective, the median days on market for all these sold properties combined was incredibly fast. Just 15.5 days.
Barely 2 weeks.
So a house sitting for 52 days in this specific environment is basically an eternity.
15 and a half days from the moment the listing goes live to a signed, locked-in contract. That is the very definition of a fast-moving market.
It's moving at warp speed.
It reinforces everything we've talked about regarding preparation. If a property is priced right and doesn't require a massive renovation, you have roughly 2 weeks to view it, fall in love with it, and outbid the competition.
Okay, we have covered some serious ground today, and we've untangled a lot of conflicting numbers. Let's synthesize all of this so that if someone asks you what the real estate market is doing, you have the exact right answer.
The elevator pitch.
Right. Our deep dive reveals that Norwell in February 2026 is an exceptionally tight, fast-moving environment, but it's a market of hidden realities. We've got a median estimated value hovering remarkably steady right around $1,035,000. But the active inventory that you see on your apps is a mirage. It's constrained almost strictly to the 2.5 million plus luxury tier right now, making the town look artificially expensive.
And the core takeaway here, the real insider knowledge, is that in a low inventory market, average data lies.
It totally lies.
The active listings show a fake luxury market, while the real market happens invisibly in the pending column.
A conveyor belt.
The actual frenzy is happening with appropriately priced classic homes near that 1 million median. They are flying off the shelves in about 2 weeks, completely bypassing the active data and often selling for tens of thousands of dollars over the asking price.
But as the antique farmhouse on Main Street proved, buyers aren't totally blind.
They will still demand a steep discount if a property requires too much work or doesn't fit a standard, predictable mold.
It's a wonderfully complex ecosystem when you actually look under the hood.
It is. And I'll leave you with a final provocative thought to ponder as we watch this market evolve.
Oh, I like a provocative thought.
As this inventory remains historically squeezed at just 2 months, and the middle-tier properties between $800,000 and $1.2 million get instantly absorbed invisibly, we have to watch how buyer behavior adapts to this missing middle.
The missing middle.
Will we see Frustrated buyers who have, say, a $1.5 million budget start pooling resources, exploring multi-generational living, or stretching their finances to the absolute limit just to compete for those ultra-luxury properties sitting at $2.5 million.
That's a scary thought.
Or will the market experience a total standoff where the mid-tier remains completely barren and highly competitive while the high-end sits untouched because the leap in price is simply too far for the average professional to bridge?
It's a huge gap to jump.
How buyers and sellers react to this missing middle is going to define the real estate landscape for the rest of the year. If you have any questions about this episode, or if you are thinking about buying or selling a house anywhere on Boston's South Shore, from Southie to Sagamore, give Jim Aldred a call. He would love to speak with you. Jim believes that people in transition often feel anxious about buying or selling a home, and he provides them with the guidance and security to help your family move on smoothly. Thanks for listening, and catch you on the next episode of the Pink Door Podcast.